Nithyananda, everyone, welcome back. So now we will be moving to the next segment where we will be learning more about Devi Parashakti and the divine feminine consciousness. So we will be first looking into the Dhyana Shloka of Devi Parashakti, which comes from the Lalita Sahasranama. सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापि न वक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम्. And this verse says, the Divine Mother is to be meditated upon as shining in a vermilion red body with a triple eye, sporting a crown of rubies studded with crescent moon, a face all smiles, a splendid bust, one hand holding a jewel cup brimming with mead, and the other twirling a red lotus. And then another verse, which also comes from the Lalita Sahasranama, which describes Devi Parashakti. Arunam karunam tarangatakshim dritapashankushpushpabanachapam animadibhiravratam ayukaihi rahamityeva vibhavaye bhavani. And the translation for this verse says, I meditate on the great empress. She is red in color, and her eyes are full of compassion, and holds the noose, the gourd, the bow, and the flowery arrow in her hands. She is surrounded on all sides by powers such as Anima Forays, and she is the self within me. And Devi Parashakti is the ultimate pure feminine consciousness. Parashakti is the cosmic mother. It is her cosmic womb from which billions and billions of universes come out and go in. It is the source where the Big Bang and black holes go on and on. Parashakti is the source Shakti, the source energy, and source power from which all of us came, all of us are in even now, and which all of us are going to merge into. And out of her extreme love and compassion, Parashakti herself is manifesting through the embodied form as the Nijavatara of the Supreme Point of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasanidanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, gracing us, answering all our questions, attending to our prayers, giving boons, healing us, revealing our past, present, and future, and delivering profound spiritual truths, and ultimately giving us the experience of Paramashivoham itself. And in the words of Devi Parashakti herself, raising as Omkara, expressing as Vedas and Agamas, blossomed as Hinkara, filled as Parashodasi, living in 40 triangles, the Kailasa Swamini, who is in Kailasa, Sri Purachintamani, Parashodasi, sitting as part of Paramashiva, Parameshwari, who rules the world, Paramashakti, Manonmani, Meenakshi. As Nithyananda, I took Nijavatara here to give good boon to everyone, to bestow all goodness. Hiranyagarbha Swarupini, Brahmanda Yoni, Shami, Chandramauli, Rapala, Aparna, Uma, Parvati, Savitri, Navayavana, Samarajya Lakshmi, Parameshwari, Parashodasi, Meenakshi. Taking the form of Nithyananda, I came here as Nijavatara. With great compassion, I am blessing. Listen, people, to do good to all of you. I took the form of Nithyananda and came down as Nijavatara. And again, in the words of Devi Parashakti herself, raising in Omkara, blossoming as Shiva, Shiva manifesting as source of existence, powers of existence, expression of existence, from the oneness of Om, blossoming into two as Prakriti and Purusha, blossoming as three Shaktis, Icha, Kriya, and Jnana, growing as four Vedas, expanding as five Panchabhutas, beyond six chakras, filled as Gotras of seven Rishis, expanding as eight directions, existing as nine Grahas, blossoming as 10 Indriyas, being as 11 Rudras, creating all the worlds, bringing life to tell and make truth blossom and to do good. Parashodasi, Meenakshi, in the form of Nithyananda, I came to bless every one of you. And now let's see how we can receive Devi Parashakti. So literally you are seeing Paramashiva and Parashakti at that moment when she is on your screen. So always receive her very traditionally. You can keep 2 betel leaves, 1 betel nut, 1 banana, and a coin in front of the screen as you watch Devi Parashakti. And for those of you who do not know, the coin is actually considered the traditional dakshina in the Hindu tradition. It can be the lowest value in India, it can even be just a paise, and in the US, it can even be just a cent. Swamiji says, I am not trying to monetize. Keep even 1 cent, it is okay. So for 100 days, if you have darshan, it will add up to $1. In India, even 1 paise is okay. And after that, you can offer, after you offer that to Devi, and after the darshan is over, you can do namaskar and eat the banana, betel leaf, and betel nut as prasadam immediately. And the coins which you collect, you can send it to the LA temple. And some of you might be wondering how this betel nut and betel leaf work and how does it benefit you. This betel leaf and betel nut may look too small, but in a few days, all of you will see how much it adds to your sentiment that really she is there. You will not take the Devi Darshan for granted. Rituals will break your monotonous unconscious mentality and lifestyle and remind you and raise you to the powerful cognition. It will break your unconscious behavior. And now all of you can also see how you can set up your tambulam. You can set up the 2 betel leaves, 1 banana and 1 betel nut, and the coin in a plate and keep it in front of the screen. These few items are the basic items kept as part of the tambulam. But if you would like, you can also add the coconut, red bangles, flowers, fresh flowers, and kumkum as an addition if you would like. But these 4 items are the main basic items kept in a tambulam. So you can arrange everything in a plate and place it in front of the screen as you have the darshan of Devi Parashakti. And now with this, we come to the conclusion of this segment. And we will be moving on to the further segments where we will be learning more about Devi Parashakti and what she has revealed for humanity, for all of us. So we will be back after a short break. All of you can stay tuned.
What I mean by the word Kailasa? Listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa. I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model communities. Kailasa, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Pitas all over the world. All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth. Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem. I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. When you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you. We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
Just be alive for next 3 years. Don't die within next 3 years. Just don't die within next 3 years. Be alive. Somehow be alive. I'm working sincerely. I will reach you somehow. Somehow I will reach you. It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within the next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being Paramashivoham. It is possible, and it is possible for you. Paramashivoham will reach you with enlightenment science. I know he is going to do the job. Just be alive for next 3 years. Nothing else.
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Kailasians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life.
Nithyananda, welcome back to your viewers. Now we will be entering into the next segment where we will be understanding some of Devi Parashakti's revelations made for humanity during this pandemic and how we can protect ourselves during this pandemic. So let us get started and listen to the first revelation made by Devi Parashakti on the 31st of May 2021 on the sacred secret of Hindu birth.
நன்றாய் கேட்டுக்கொள். உன் கேள்விக்கு உன்மூலமாய் உலகெங்கும் இருக்கும் இந்துக்கள் எல்லோர்க்கும் அளிக்கின்றேன் உத்திரம். கேட்டு வாழ்ந்தால் உங்கள் வாழ்க்கை
I don't think the audio is shared.
நன்றாய் கேளுங்கள்.
I'm able to hear it.
பிறப்பின் ரகசியத்தை பிறப்பிலா பெருமை உடைய பரமேஸ்வரி சொல்லுகின்றேன் கேளுங்கள். அண்டஜம், யோனிஜம், ஜலஜம், பீஜம் எனும் 4 விதமான பிறவிகளில் 84,000 யோனிகளில் பிறக்கும் பிறப்புகளிலேயே பெருமை வாய்ந்ததும் உத்தமமானதும் மனித பிறவி. அந்த மனித பிறவியிலும் பலமுறை பிறந்து உழன்று அரசியல், பொருளாதாரம், சுகபோகம், தர்மம், அர்த்தம், காமம் எனும் ஆசைகள், துக்கங்கள், அச்சங்கள் அனைத்திலும் அழன்று உழன்று இனி வேண்டாம் இப்பிறவி, வேண்டுவது மோட்சமே என்று முடிவெடுத்தோர்க்கு மட்டுமே ஹிந்து மத யோனிஜம், ஹிந்து பெற்றோர்க்கு பிறந்திடும் சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம யோனிஜம், மனித பிறவி உத்தமம், சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம மனித பிறவி உத்தமோத்தமம். இந்த உத்தமோத்தம பிறவி எடுத்த எல்லோருக்கும் ஜீவன் முக்த விஞ்ஞானத்தையும் சனாதன தர்மத்தையும் காக்கின்ற கடமையும் உண்டு. அதனால் வருகின்ற நன்மையெல்லாம் அனுபவிக்கும் உரிமையும் உண்டு. இந்த கடமையை செய்வோம் என்று சத்தியம் செய்ததனால்தான் அந்த உரிமை அளிக்கப்பட்டது. பூமிக்கு வந்தபின் மனம் மயங்கி மதிமயங்கி சனாதன தர்மம் காக்க மறந்ததனால் மாயை அவர்கள் உயிரை பறிக்கின்றாள். நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உயிரை கொடுத்தாலும் தர்மத்தை காப்போம் என்று உறுதி எடுத்தவர்க்கே சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம யோனிஜம் அளிக்கின்றேன் யான். உடல் பெற்ற பிறகு ஊழிப் பெருவலியால் ஆசை அச்சங்களை உதறவிடாது, உதறியும் விடாது சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்மம் காக்க மறந்தோரை உயிர் வாழத் தகுதியில்லாதவர் பட்டியலில் உடனடியாய் மாயை சேர்க்கின்றாள். அதனால் ராட்சசர்களும் அசுரர்களும் தானாகவே இவர்கள் உயிரை எடுக்கின்றார். நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உயிரை கொடுத்தாலும் தர்மம் காப்போம் என்று நிற்பவர்க்கு நிலைத்திடும் வீரஸ்வர்க்கமும் கைலாச பதவியும், எக்காரணம் கொண்டும் தர்மம் காக்க மறந்த உத்தமோத்தம ஜனனமான சனாதன ஹிந்து ஜனனம் பெற்ற மக்களுக்கு இல்லை வேறு கதி. சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம மனித ஜனனம் உத்தமோத்தம மனித ஜனனம். உங்கள் உரிமை உலகில் அதிகம், உங்களுக்கு கடமையும் உலகில் பெரிது. தர்மம் காத்தாலே கடமை, தர்மம் காக்காதார்க்கு உயிர் வாழும் உரிமை இல்லை. நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உத்தமோத்தம பிறவியான சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம பிறவி எடுத்த எல்லோரும் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உங்கள் வாழ்வின் முதற்கடமை தர்மம் காத்தல். தர்மம் காக்க தர்மம் உங்களை காக்கும். சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்மம் காக்க மறந்திட்டால் வாழும் உரிமையை நீங்கள் இழந்து விடுகின்றீர்கள். அதற்கு மேல் வாழ்ந்தென்ன அழிந்தென்ன? பூமிக்கு பாரம் குறையட்டும் என்று அசுரர்களும் ராட்சதர்களும் உங்களை உண்டு தீர்க்கின்றார்கள். அதையும் மாயை கண்டு சும்மாவிருப்பாள். பிரபஞ்ச ரகசியத்தை, பிறவியின் ரகசியத்தை உலகிற்கெல்லாம் உத்தரமாய் சொல்லிவிட்டேன். புரிந்து வாழ்வில் நடந்து உயிரை பத்திரமாய் பார்த்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். அன்னை சொல்லும் அருள் சத்தியம் இது. ஓம் ஓம் ஓம்.
Yes, we can move to the next slide, please.
கேட்டுக்கொள். உன் கேள்விக்கு உன்மூலமாய் உலகெங்கும் இருக்கும் இந்துக்கள் எல்லோருக்கும் அளிக்கின்றேன் உத்திரம்.
So let us understand Devi Parashakti's revelations and what the translation into English is. We can move to the next slide. Yes. Listen. Andajam, Yonijam, Jalajam, Bijam, like this in 4 types of births in 8,400,000 yonis, and all these births, the most greatest birth of them all is human birth. Even in that human birth, being born and toiled many times, after getting burnt and toiled in politics and finance, in luxuries, in dharma, artha, kama, and those who decide of not wanting this birth, wanting only moksha, only those will have Hindu dharma yonijam, the Sanatana Hindu dharma yonijam of being born to Hindu parents. Human birth is uttamam, the best. Sanatana Hindu dharma, human birth, is uttamottamam, the best of the best. Everyone who took this uttamottama birth has the responsibility of protecting the science of living enlightenment and Sanatana dharma. And also they have the right of experiencing its benefits. This right was given to them because of their commitment given by them to do this responsibility. After coming to Bhuloka by getting mentally deluded and forgetting the dharma of protecting Sanatana dharma, Maya, she is taking away all their souls. Understand carefully, I am giving the Sanatana Hindu Dharma Yonijam only for those who gave the commitment of protecting Sanatana Dharma, even by giving their life. After getting the body, because of painful deluge, not dropping fear and greed, for those who forgot to protect Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Maya, she will immediately add them all to the list of those who are not worthy of living. Therefore, Rakshasas and Asuras are automatically taking away their life. Understand properly, for those who stand that even by giving their life, they will protect Dharma, will permanently have Virasvarga and Kailasa Padavi. For any reason, people who forgot to protect Dharma, having the Uttamottama birth of Sanatana Hindu birth, there is no other way for them. Sanatana Hindu Dharma, human birth is Uttamottama human birth. Your rights in this world are immense. Also, your responsibility in this world is large. Protecting Dharma is responsibility. Those who do not protect Dharma, they do not have the right to live. Understand properly. All those who took the Uttamottama birth, which is Sanatana Hindu Dharma birth, all of you understand. The first responsibility of your life is protecting Dharma. If you protect Dharma, Dharma will protect you. If you forget to protect that Sanatana Hindu Dharma, you lose the right to live. After that, what bothers whether you live or get destroyed? Asuras, Rakshasas will eat you, so that the burden on earth is reduced. Seeing that, Maya, she will keep quiet. So let us now understand what is the responsibility of Hindus. Hinduism represents the world's most ancient and yet progressive indigenous spiritual tradition. It is an open framework model of civilization that stands for global peace, vegetarianism, nonviolence, yoga, worship of nature, temple-based living, manifesting spiritual powers, and inherent divinity of every being. The Hindu nations were ecosystems where more and more enlightened beings could be produced, so that enlightened civilization could be kept alive and its great gifts shared with the world. So let us look at the reference of Hindu nations from the Hindu scriptures. The Hindu nation that was ruled by Bhagavan Rama, the Ramarajya, let us look at the description from that in the Valmiki Ramayana, in the Yuddha Kanda. It describes that there were no widows to lament, nor were there any danger from wild animals, nor any fear born of diseases. The world was bereft of thieves and robberies. No one felt worthless, nor did old people perform obsequies concerning youngsters. Every creature felt pleased. Everyone was intent on virtue, turning their eyes towards Rama alone. Creatures did not kill one another. And people survived for thousands of years with thousands of progeny, all free of illness and grief. The trees that there were bearing flowers and fruits regularly without any injury by pests and insects. The clouds were raining in time, and the wind was delightful to the touch. Every caste was performing their own duties, satisfied with their own work and bereft of any greed. People were intent on virtue and lived without telling lies. All the people were endowed with excellent characteristics. All were engaged in virtue. So you can see that the description of the Ramarajya, the ancient Hindu nations was beautiful and everyone was fulfilled. Here you can see the description of the Hastinapur kingdom ruled by Yudhishthira. The Devas granted rains to fulfill all wants. The world became free of all diseases. There was no hunger or thirst anywhere. There was no mental suffering. Those who without livelihood were given livelihood. There was abundance all around. There was no worldly worries left for anyone, and there was no cause to fear either. Happiness on earth was in fact even greater than in the heavens. And this is the description from the Srimad Mahabharata of the Hastinapur kingdom. And the contribution of the Hindu nations was immense. The Hindu nations had and have so much to contribute to the world in every field, including enlightenment, health, medicine, art, science, technology, aviation, dance, and music, clothes and jewelry, social system, judicial system, political systems, and legal systems. So how were these Hindu nations destroyed over time? The phase one was the Islamic invasions from the 1800s to from 1800 AD to 1700 AD, which was the physical destruction of the Hindu civilization. And the description from Will Durant in the description of the Islamic invasions is that the Mohammedans' conquest of India is probably the bloodiest story in history. The Islamic historians and scholars have recorded with great glee and pride the slaughters of Hindus, forced conversions, abduction of Hindu women and children to slave markets, and the destruction of temples carried out by the warriors of Islam during the 1800 AD to 1700 AD. And millions of Hindus were converted to Islam by sword during this period. Millions more were raped and murdered and dismembered. Hindus are like the mud. If silver is demanded from them, they must, with greatest humility, offer gold. If a Mohammedan desires to spit into a Hindu's mouth, the Hindu should open it wide for that purpose. God created the Hindus to be slaves of the Mohammedans. The Prophet hath ordained that if the Hindus do not accept Islam, they should be imprisoned, tortured, and finally put to death, and their property confiscated. To keep the Hindus in abasement is especially a religious duty, because they are the most inveterate enemies of the Prophet. And this is the description of the law prescribed for Hindus during the Islamic rule. And here you can see the data of what happened during the Islamic invasions. Over 200 million Hindus were slaughtered by Muslim invaders, and over 100,000 temples were destroyed, and over 1 million deities and sculptures were destroyed during this period. And in the words of Kanhad Prabhanda, the conquering armies burnt villages, devastated the land, plundered people's wealth, took Brahmins and children and women of all classes captive, flagged with thongs of rawhide, carried a moving prison with them, and converted the prisoners into obsequious Turks. And the phase two was the British occupation, which was from the 1700s to 1947 AD. And this was the economic and psychological destruction of the Hindu civilization. And in the words, again, of Will Durant, a historian of the Indian civilization, I have seen a great people starving to death before my eyes. I'm convinced that this exhaustion and starvation are due not, as their beneficiaries claim, to overpopulation and superstition, but to the most sordid and criminal exploitation of one nation by another in all recorded history. The British Empire used all possible means to destroy the Hindu civil and cultural institutions in order to delegitimize and demoralize the indigenous people of India so that they would become slaves to their own homeland. And this included discriminatory laws to instill feelings of racial inferiority, engineered famines to starve natives into submission, annexed Hindu kingdoms to undermine native rule, mistranslated Hindu scriptures to instill anti-Hindu narratives, destroyed indigenous Gurukul education system, destroyed local industries and forced importation of British goods, and banned Indians from owning or producing firearms. And during the British occupation, over $45 trillion were looted from India over the course of 200 years, and 45 million Hindus died due to famine and poverty imposed by the British policies and reprisal killings of 1857 mutiny, and over 680 native kingdoms were usurped by the British Raj. And the description from Shashi Tharoor, the Indian Parliament, was that the British came to one of the richest countries of the world. Over 200 years of exploitation, looting, and destruction reduced it to a poster child of third world poverty. And the phase 3 was after independence from 1947 to present, which was when India became a secular country. And the description is this: brown faces with British attitudes and policies towards Hindus. And the description from Nehru, which was that what a disgusting savage people we are, politics, progress, socialism, communism, science, where are they before this black religious savagery? India can never be a Hindu republic. And the first law minister and the principal architect of the Indian Constitution described that if Hindu Raj does become a fact, it will no doubt be the greatest calamity for this country. No matter what the Hindus say, Hinduism is a menace to liberty, equality, and fraternity. It is incompatible with democracy. Hindu Raj must be prevented at any cost. And these are the descriptions from the first leaders of the independent India after colonization. You can see how much of discrimination and prejudice they had against Hindus. Therefore, it was very much, despite India being a secular country, it became very much a hostile environment for Hindus. And the modern Indian legal system, academia, and media all systematically undermine, suppress, and delegitimize Hindu institutions and cultures. And India's constitution has established government control and taxation over Hindu temples, schools, and much more, while other religions are free from this interference. And Articles 27 to 30 of India's constitution discriminate against Hindus by giving special rights and benefits to non-Hindus. And this includes government benefits, scholarships, and much more. And Hindu kingdoms and self-governance was completely abolished during this time, and anti-superstition laws were passed to criminalize Hindu practices. And the mainstream Indian academics describe Hindus as sexist, racist, backwards, and oppressors. And the negative media portrayals of Hindus in Bollywood and TV are very prominent in today's culture. And you can see how every aspect of society has been created to be anti-Hindu, to drive the agenda of this anti-Hindu agenda. And you can see that the media narratives were used to stereotype and demoralize Hindus. And in Bollywood and other mainstream media outlets consistently portrayed Hindu gods and gurus as cartoonish, dishonest, corrupt, sex fiends, and in a manner similar to the British imperial propaganda. And this media narrative was used to shape the human consciousness further and further the political agenda. and racist British colonial stereotypes portrayed Hindus as superstitious, backwards, dishonest, corrupt, and were perpetrated by their British brown successors in modern India, completely unabated. So why do we need to revive the Hindu nation? Let us look at the vision for the Hindu civilization given by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. During the time of Mahabharata, we Hindus had 56 deshas, countries, 200 states, 1,700 samsthanas, 10,000 sampradayas. In all 56, we Hindus are persecuted. Now we have lost all of the 56. The last one to fall was Nepal. I am the collective voice of all the persecuted Hindus. I will revive and rebuild a Hindu nation built on the Vedagamic principles as a refuge for all practicing and aspiring Hindus, a safe haven for all the persecuted Hindus. So what is Kailasa? This revival of Kailasa, the Hindu nation, is for reviving this whole life of enlightened civilization and all the great things that has to offer to the world, bringing legitimacy to all the offerings of Sanatana Hindu Dharma and sharing it with the whole world is the purpose of this Kailasa, the Hindu nation. So let us understand the administration of Kailasa. Kailasa is revival of the cosmic constitution. Kailasa is the model nation of how enlightened civilization should be living and administered. Politics, judiciary, education, economy, everything will be revived as Paramashiva revealed in the Vedagamic scriptures, the Sanatana Hindu Dharma scriptures. Being one of the most persecuted civilizations, Hinduism is on the brink of extinction, such that the next generation may know about Hinduism only through history books. What can we do to stand up for Hindu civilization and all that it has to offer to the world? Today, Hinduism is a political orphan. The preservation and restoration of Hinduism's spiritual and cultural heritage is impossible without a national identity. Unfortunately, this is no longer, we do not have the 56 deshas that we once had. Only Kailasa is the only Hindu nation that we have. So let us reclaim our Hindu identity. Hinduism is responsible for our successful life. If you are happy, healthy, wealthy, rich, successful, respectable, have a stable family life, have the best mental health, Hinduism is responsible. The Hindu identity is responsible. The Hindu scriptures are responsible. It is the Hindu scriptures which have given us the best mental setup, all the best things we Hindus have. The Hindu scriptures are responsible for our beautiful lives. Hindus are the richest and most successful ethnic group in the world. Hindu scriptures, Hindu lifestyle, our enlightened masters are responsible for this. Hindu thought currents that are responsible for this. And here you can see that Hindus are the most educated group in the US, according to a report published in the Hindustan Times. So let us reclaim our Hindu identity. It is not just anti-Hindu elements being active, but it is the responsible Hindus being inactive that is responsible for this whole destruction of Hinduism. Let us now take responsibility for Hinduism and let all the Hindus all over the world reclaim our Hindu identity. So let us understand what is our responsibility as Hindus. It is the responsibility of Hindus to revive the enlightened civilization again and again and give all the gifts of the enlightened civilization to humanity. The revival of the enlightened civilization, the Kailasa, the Hindu nation, is the survival need of the humanity. So now is an open invitation to all the Hindus, the born Hindus, the practicing Hindus, those who are sympathetic towards Hinduism, those who are curious towards Hinduism, who want to explore and enjoy Hinduism. Please come and be a part of the revival. You can sign up to be an e-citizen of Kailasa at kailasa.org and avail all of the benefits that Hinduism has to offer to the world. And let us now listen to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's own words of why Kailasa is needed, why the only Hindu nation is needed for humanity.
Contribution. Hinduism, Veda Agamas have great things to contribute to the world. Like the great power manifestation science, the ancient culture and arts, the ancient lifestyle truths, the ancient medical practices and medicinal knowledge, the ancient indigenous cultural heritage and jewelry, perfume, dance, music. In every level, Hinduism has so much to contribute. Veda Agamic traditions have so much to contribute. To share all this with the world, to contribute to the world. Hindus need to tell the world what they are contributing in every level. The brand of Hinduism itself is enriching and empowering and enlightening. Hinduism is all about enlightening the world. Empowering, enlightening, enriching the world. Contributing. That is our spiritual life. That is our spiritual strength. That is our spiritual core principle. O humanity, I request you with folded hands, some one corner of the world, if you just give me few hundred acres, I will keep this whole science alive. Leave it for the whole humanity freely. Fortunately, Paramashiva has given me the power to decode all this Hindu medicinal system, Hindu judiciary system, Hindu social law and order system, Hindu power manifestation system, Hindu mental sciences system, Hindu yogic sciences, the sciences of Hindu biology, Hindu physics, Hindu psychology, Hindu physiology, Hindu chemistry, all this Paramashiva has given me the power to decode. Whatever the remaining scriptures are available with the humanity, Paramashiva has blessed me, and I have collected. Not only I have collected and organized, I can decode
this whole science can be kept alive in any one corner of the world, just few hundred acres are given for me to live peacefully and exist peacefully, I can store this whole thing alive and contribute it to humanity. Humanity can become better and better and better. I can make the planet Earth so much better place to live. I am here to contribute, and I will continue to contribute. As long as I am allowed to live, I will contribute. I have collected all the remaining available scriptures, maybe 2 crore books. 2 crore means 20 million, I think, books on Hindu physics, Hindu chemistry, Hindu biology, Hindu physiology, Hindu psychology, Hindu law and order, Hindu social system, the power manifestation sciences of Hinduism, yogic sciences of Hinduism. I have collected, and Paramashiva has given me the blessings and power to decode. I have decoded and continuing to decode them. If the humanity, somebody is kind enough to give me few hundred acres in one corner of the world and let me live peacefully, I can keep all the scriptures there and go on sharing with the world, revealing this whole sciences to the world, and go on contributing. I don't need anything other than 1 cup of curd rice every day. That's all. A cup of curd rice per day over. I can go on be giving this to the world. I can add to the world. I can make the world better place to live. That's all I have to say. Thousands of medicines are described detail in ancient Siddha and Ayurvedic scriptures. Paramashiva has given me the power to decode them, read them, and properly translate and map them to the modern day human language. And I am ready to work 20 hours a day. I just need few hundred acres where I can sit peacefully and keep this library, run a Gurukul where thousands of people can learn this and share it with the world. Understand? I am only interested in contributing. If we can decode all this great knowledge, whole world can prosper from this knowledge. Whole world can enjoy from this knowledge. If I prosper, I will only create a university. I will not create anything else. If the Hindus prosper, they will only create education institutions. Because Hinduism is all about giving, contributing. If I prosper, I'll create university, that's all.
Kailasa is all about university to decode the ancient sciences and share with the world. Understand? Every day I am sitting and going on decoding, writing notes on my books and writing details on my books. Whether it is making human beings manifest powers, and I have also now started downloading and decoding the science of making animals manifest powers. Whether making people manifest powers or healing, in every level, life is all about contribution, contribution, contribution.
Yes. So now that we have understood from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself what is a need for our Hindu nation and why we need Kailasa, we will now be concluding this segment and be entering into the next segment where we will understand some of the offerings that we can make to Devi Parashakti and how we can connect with Devi Parashakti through these various offerings. We will be right back after a very short break.
What I mean by the word Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa.
I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model communities. Kailasa, enlightenment ecosystems Sarvanya Peethas all over the world.
All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth.
Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No.
Nithyananda. Welcome back to all the viewers. Now we'll be entering into the next segment of today's program, the offerings that each and every one of you can make that are made available from Kailasa, from the Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Devalaya, so that you can experience the ultimate oneness experience with Devi Parashakti. In the Hindu tradition, we often do these offerings for our birthdays, our different kinds of celebrations, our marriage anniversaries, or if a new baby is born, or if you are starting school for the first time, or if you are starting starting school for the first time, or if you're starting a new business endeavor or anything like that. We often invite God into our lives. We offer our respect, our gratitude for having guided us, protected us, and ensured the most auspiciousness happens in our lives thus far, and we request their guidance further in our lives. And you can really see that an offering is the giving of a divine gift of pure love, devotion, and oneness, and it consists of two parts, giving and accepting. And only when the divine accepts what one offers, the offering becomes complete. Offering is not made out of any fear or greed. As I was saying, it is a beautiful tradition, custom, where we're literally living with God. We enjoy their presence in their lives. We enjoy the presence of God. We enjoy that they are in our lives. We love to invite them continuously, no matter if it is our birthday or for our even if we are buying a new car or a new device or new something, we always are asking the blessings of God. And we always request God to be in our lives. And that is beautifully what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is revived as the science of living enlightenment, literally practicing the presence of God in our lives. And any offering that you make is a beautiful way that you can have and experience enlightenment. You can experience the ultimate experience of oneness. Now, before we are entering into the next segment of today's program, let us first invoke the presence of Devi Parashakti, Manonmani, who is the beautiful form of Devi Parashakti sitting on the lap of Paramashiva. Yes, I'll just be chanting this Dhyana Shloka. Deeply sit and imbibe the sacred vibrations that I'm chanting in Sanskrit, the sacred mantras. This literally, even if you don't know the meaning, can literally conjure, can literally invoke the presence of Devi Parashakti amongst us now. So deeply, let us pray as we chant the Dhyana Shloka. Om Induniva Veda Karavahni Nayanam Syat Pankajavaravaya Japakshasara Yuktam Angahima Bhushana Vichitra Vasanam Syat Tunga Mukato Jvala Manonmani Swarupam. And the English translation. The English translation continues. Moonlight face holding the Vedas on hand, fire in hands, with lotus flower gracing and blessing, and one hand with the Japamala, beautifully decorated with jeweled ornaments and wonderful clothes and shining bright crown. Her name is Manonmani. And the next Dhyana Shloka. Dhyayet devim trinetram shashini bhavadanam vedahastam dadanam savye padmam varadam apare chabhayam chakshamalam divyera varana vibhar vibhushitatanam brahmadi vipujitam devimeva manonmanim pratidinam kamatra dhatrim shubham. And that English translation. I meditate on Devi with 3 eyes glowing like the moon and holding the Vedas, lotus embracing with blessing and gracing hands. She is wearing beautiful ornaments and she is worshipped by Brahma and other many gods and showers auspicious boons for all actions every day. Yes, we can go on. So now, before we enter, having thus invoked the divine presence of Devi Parashakti right now with these chants, let us now understand, before we enter into the exquisite array of offerings that we have for each and every one of you to do today, we can enter into the segment by understanding the significance of the divine element gold. And many of these offerings, as you will see, are in gold. They are offerings of gold jewelry. And you will see that even many of these divine offerings have Western equivalents, if we can say. It's not, and Western society has taken these jewelries, these ornaments, and implemented them in that society. But the significance, the higher context, the spiritual and sacred powers are all actually not lost and not known to the world. That is what the Supreme Council of Hinduism is emphasizing in reviving, bringing back the sacredness of each and every one of these offerings. And we must understand the sacredness of each and every one so that we can understand really the true importance of these offerings to Devi Parashakti. And many of you know and can experience or can relate with, understanding the value of gold. We might understand it superficially in an economic way or as a very valuable and precious metal. And we often give it as a gift when we are on Mother's Day, Father's Day, or on birthdays or weddings. We often give gold as a gift, and we know that it places value on a relationship. But what kind of value? How does it really give that value? It's not just economic. It's not just currency value that gold has. It actually has a sacred and divine property. And in fact, in the Atharva Veda, one of the scriptures of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, one of the oldest scriptures, a part of the Chaturveda, there is a verse where it describes the virtues of gold. And I'll just be reading out here the English translation. As you can see, the Atharva Veda, chapter 5, line 28. And it says, triply born by birth is this gold. From the atoms of Agni is one. It becomes dearest to Agni. One fell away from the Soma when it was heard. One they call the seed of virtuous and powerful Apaha, watery molecules. Let that triple gold be for your long life. And once again, here it says, the seed of virtuous and powerful Apaha and the triple gold be for your long life, meaning that it was already then associated with higher powers and virtuousness as well as immortality. And as we were saying, beyond what we usually see or what we usually understand for gold, gold is a divine element. It purifies anything that it touches. It is an element of spiritual significance and great spiritual power of healing and enlightening. And the vibration of gold has the power to infuse sattva energy and positive thought currents in anyone who wears it or even anyone who operates in its vicinity. So this, as you can see, is a very significant part of gold. And thus, gold is present in all of the scriptures, the Vedas, Shrutis, Smritis, and Itihasas, in all of the Hindu Puranas, the Hindu scriptures. It is abundantly displayed that gold is the most auspicious and purest metal which purifies our being. In the Hindu civilization, everything was built in gold, exchanged in gold, and ritual feasts were offered in gold bricks. When one was to be saved from life-threatening illnesses, gold was to be offered as a ritual fee. And gold was in abundance and used for weighing equivalent amounts of commodities, including cows. Kingdoms were built in huge doors of gold, and the streets would have huge columns and huge archways of gold. And even the elephants, horses, cows, all the different animals, all the sentient beings who lived in coexistence in the society were all dressed and adorned in gold and literally worshipped as God. So as you can see, gold has so much of significance in the Hindu civilization, and it thrived on the banks of rivers of gold. In fact, the Indus River was called the Hiranyamaya, the river of gold, in the Rig Veda, and the river Saraswati was called the Hiranyavartani in the Atharva Veda. And thus, gold is a supreme element for offering gifts to ones you love and revere. So, and temples are constructed and paved in gold, deities are made in gold and decked and adorned in gold. And because it preserves the enlightenment energy forever, for literally thousands and thousands of years. So now we have established the significance of the element gold, we can enter into the array of offerings that we have today. And you'll see that we have so many different options from if you want to offer any amount, or if you want to offer a more substantial amount and offer your gratitude at the feet of Devi Parashakti, and with a more elaborate and powerful ritual as well. So here is the offering of the e-hundi. The e-hundi offering is an offering of a general donation of any amount. And all of us Hindus know that when we go to the temple, it's a part of the tradition where we'll just offer a few coins or how much ever we want on that day and offer our gratitude at the feet of Devi Parashakti or our Ishta Devata. So this is a feature now available wherever you are through this e-hundi offering. So you can offer, and you can offer how much ever you want immediately today as well. And you can offer through the registration forms with credit card or debit card, or you can offer through credit card, debit card, or PayPal through the YouTube Super Chat. And we will be going over how you can offer that later. But let us now chant the verses where it refers to Devi Parashakti as the one who removes all fears. Sorry, we can go back to the previous slide. Yes, so I'll just be chanting the verse. Can we go back to the previous slide now? Yes, the previous slide, please. And the slide before that. Yes. So I'll just be chanting this verse. Bhakti Priya Bhakti Ghamya Bhakti Vashya Bhayapaha Shambhavi Sharadaradhya Sharvani Sharmadayini. Devi is fond of true devotion and is realized through true devotion. She can be won over through true devotion, and she removes all fear. Yes. So as you can see, if you have any fear in your life, you can be sure to offer your fears. You can offer everything, and Devi is going to remove that just through this very simple offering today. So you can just drop all your fears, surrender at the feet of Devi Parashakti, and you'll be able to surrender ultimately and experience oneness with Devi Parashakti. In fact, it is stated that Devi likes to be worshipped in autumn. And here it is not meant the autumn of our lives, but when it is not meant like the seasonal autumn, but the autumn of our lives, when thoughts turn more and more inwards. the role of the divine is known and understood clearly. The need for Devi worship becomes stronger. So as you can see, we have a breakdown here. The Shambhavi is actually the consort of Lord Shambhu. Sharadharadhya means the worship of Sharadha. Sharvani means the wife of Lord Shiva. And the Linga Purana says that Lord Shiva is called Sharva in his earth form. And Charmadayini, Devi who bestows happiness on his devotees. So you can offer this offering today. It's a very easy offering as well. Yes. So the next offering is the Sankalpa chanting. In the Hindu tradition, we have a beautiful tradition to offer the Sankalpa. And the Sankalpa is a mantra or a chant which has and bestows and has the power and bestows, blesses every devotee with so much of auspiciousness. And the mantra itself has blessings embedded within its lines of going beyond fear, greed, lust, and manifesting Shaktis, manifesting beautiful powers, and also achieving the space of oneness with Paramashiva, Parashakti, and at the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, the Nijavatara, who is gracing us with the Devi Parashakti Darshan every single day. So this Sankalpa chanting offering is referred in the Devi Mahatmyam, chapter 12, verse 34, where it says, the goddess enchants this universe and she herself gives birth to this universe. That goddess, being prayed without interest in anything, gives that knowledge that leads to salvation and gives wealth in the materialistic sense. So the offering of this Sankalpa, the conscious resolution, blesses the person offering with all fruition of the desires and wishes which he is yearning for. The next slide, please. The next offering is the Swarna Kasu, the Sahasranama Swarna Kasu. In the Lalita Sahasranama, verse 734, Devi Parashakti is described as Nama Parayana Prita, she who likes the repetition of her own names, and her various names. So this is the offering as an ode and tribute to that. We're offering the 1008 names of Devi Parashakti, and it's actually a very special offering because we are offering this Archana to the Mahameru of Devi Parashakti. You can offer the gold coin inscribed with each of these 1008 names and receive the blessings to have the Ananta Kalyana Gunas, all the divine qualities of Devi Parashakti. So if you'd like to go ahead and proceed with any of these offerings, you can go to tiny.cc/Devi-offerings. If you want a little bit of help and you're not sure how to make the payment, then you can stay tuned and we will be going through how you can pay in just a few minutes. We'll now proceed with the next offering. This offering is the Mukta Anguti, the pearl ring. And I'll just chant the verse here. Muktaharanala satkirita ruchiram purnendu vaktra prabham shinjannu purikinkini manidaram Padma Prabhavasuram Sarvabeta Palapradam Girisutam Vani Rama Sevitam Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaram Nidim. And the English translation says, I bow down to the goddess Meenakshi, whose crown has garlands of pearls and face shining like the full moon, who wears anklets that are studded with gemstones and has small bells, who is shining like the splendor of a lotus, who grants all wishes, the daughter of the mountain, and who is worshipped by goddess Vani and Rama. I remain ever bowing to the goddess Meenakshi, the ocean of compassion. Yes, and you can offer this pearl ring to receive the blessings, to be showered by the compassion and pure love in all of your business endeavors. Devi Meenakshi is the one who literally manifested Kailasa on planet Earth and ruled the whole 56 deshas as one civilization under one rule. So from her itself, the sovereign queen, the divine sovereign queen, you can receive the blessings to fulfill your highest ambition. The next slide, please. The next offering is the Swarna Padma Pushpa, the golden lotus. And in fact, in the Kamika Agama, the golden lotus has a reference, and it says here that all the kalasas should be wound around with suitable thread and covered with new cloth. They should be adorned with a lotus flower made of gold. And in fact, there are hundreds of scriptural references for the using lotus in the worship of Paramashiva. And not just the worship, but also in the arts and architecture, everything has something to do with the lotus. And even the representatives, even all the chakras are represented as lotus. So in fact, the Shakti of Paramashiva is also called the lotus. And the base of the Paramashiva Linga is also the lotus, and the disciple of Paramashiva is also considered as a lotus. So you can offer this golden lotus in any size that you wish to be blessed to have the state, space, powers, and being of Devi Parashakti in your inner space amidst any and every adverse situation in your life. Yes, and the next offering is the Swarnameti, the golden toe ring. The toe ring is actually a very sacred, a very ancient Hindu custom, which is adorned on the feet of married women upon their marriage. And upon their marriage, they are literally given this toe ring with a ritualistic ceremony. And in that way, they are worshipped as Devi Parashakti. And in that ceremony, they are literally invoked as Devi Parashakti. And that is why they're given this gold, they're given this ornament. So I'll just be chanting that very verse that references Devi Parashakti as the one who liberates all karmas just from her feet. So we'll say Nakhadiditi samchana namajjana tamod guna Padadvaya prabhajala parakruta saroruham. You whose brightness from toenails destroys the darkness of ignorance from the minds of your devotees who prostrate at your feet. You whose brightness from your 2 feet overpowers that of the lotus flower. The next slide, please. The next offering is, So yes, you can offer the toe ring to Devi Parashakti, adorning her sacred feet to be in constant gratitude for receiving her blessings, even in the most difficult aspects of life. The next offering is the Swarna Mangtika, the golden hairline jewelry. And this is another offering which is a traditional piece of jewelry. And in fact, this Mangtika goes from the crown of the head to the forehead, and sometimes it spans the entire head as well. And this is referred in the sacred scriptures where Devi Parashakti is described as Shuddha Sarabhi Varshini, meaning she who makes the nectar flow in all of our nerves from the Sahasrara, she who gives the very pleasant experience of the enlightenment. The Mangtika represents the nectar flowing from the Sahasrara chakra, which is fully opened. The Sahasrara chakra is the chakra at the crown center. And literally when that lotus is in bloom, and when that lotus is fully ripe and blooming, the nectar which is flowing from it is described as represented by the Mangtika. So you can offer the Mangtika to Devi Parashakti and receive the blessings of achieving the blissful state of overflowing gratitude and the space of complete completion. The next slide, please. The next offering is the Pratyaksha Pada Puja. And I'll just be chanting once again this verse where it sings the praise of the very feet which can liberate us from all types of darkness. Nakadiditi samchana namajjana tamoguna padadvaya prabhajala parakrita saroruha. The illumining splendor of Devi's toenails dispels the darkness of ignorance in devotees prostrating at her feet. Her feet defeat the lotus in beauty. Now, in Shlokam number 83 of the Saundarya Lahari, which states that the nails that have been sharpened by constantly being touched by the crowns of celestial beings who always prostrate before Devi. Tamoguna here is darkness, and in this stotram, tamas is indicative of ignorance in the minds of devotees. By constantly prostrating before Devi, their ignorance is removed and they attain ultimate knowledge. Offering the Pratyakshabhada Puja is the most precious offering that you can offer at the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Devi Parashakti. You will be able to manifest whatever you want in your life through this offering. The next offering is the Vastra Seva. Again, this offering is at the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, which offers you any kind of protection that you want and gives you the assurance of the protection of the divine. The next slide, please. So this brings us to a conclusion of all the different offerings that we have today. You can see we have a summary table here in the next slide. The E-Hundi offering, the Sankalpa chanting, the Devi Sahasranama Kasu, the Mukta Anguti, the Swarna Padma Pushpa, the Swarna Mitti, and the Swarna Mantika, the golden hairline jewelry, the Pratyakshabhada Puja, and the Vastra Seva. So today, you might be falling under two options here, or might be falling under two categories. One is if you are ready to offer and you're feeling inspired, you want to have this beautiful experience of oneness with Devi Parashakti and deepen your experiences with Devi Parashakti, you can go ahead and go to tiny.cc/Devi-offerings and you can offer these offerings. And you can go ahead with the payment link. After you're done with the payment, please ensure that you are filling out the Sankalpa 2021 form. And this form is extremely important in order for you to ensure that your names and the names of your people, your family members, and those who you're offering the puja on behalf of are also are chanted during the puja. And you also might be falling in the category of that you might be interested in this offering, but you need help in manifesting, or you need more details. So you can also fill out the registration form, the intention form at tiny.cc/BHAVA Samadhi. Now I request if we can actually show these links, we can go to these links. We can go to the tiny.cc/Devi-offerings link. And we'll be able to just show these links. Yes. So while we get that to you, I request each and every one of you to, once again, you can consider making these offerings. And even if you are, wanting to make a general donation or any kind of offering today, I strongly encourage you can manifest this offering today itself and do it out of your complete gratitude for Devi Parashakti. So we'll just be getting those links right to you. And we'll be able to show all the links, how to make the payment. It's a very easy process. You'll just need to go to the link provided. You can select in the drop-down menu the payment that the offering that you'd like to make, then proceed to checkout. Then you can add that to your cart, then to proceed to the checkout once you are reviewed all the items in your cart. Then fill out your payment details, and that's it. That's a very simple process that we have. And there's also another option where you can also donate through the YouTube Super Chat. YouTube Super Chat is another feature where if you are a member of our YouTube channel, Kailasa's SPH Nithyananda YouTube channel, you can become a member, and then you can click the $ in the right hand side below the chat and make a donation through the Super Chat option or the Super Sticker option. So this brings us to a conclusion of today's segment, in today's program. We'll now be entering into the next segments, where we'll understand from the representatives and administrators of the Adi Kailasa Nithyananda Peetham and we'll be right back with you after a quick break.
What I mean by the word Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa.
I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model community. Kailasa's enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Peethas all over the world.
Nithyananda, with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam blessings. Let's start our next segment. Welcome back. Kailasa's Department of Enlightened Civilization presents that Kailasa's multi-layered quarantine opportunity for India during the COVID-19 as a practical solution resulting in health, joy, and bliss. So let's understand more details. So now let's watch what Devi Parashakti revealed, that Krimi Bhojanam. Devi revealed clearly about this pandemic, how it is going to affect the world.
நீ சொல்லும் நபர்கள் போடும் சண்டை சச்சரவெல்லாம் எரியும் பெருநெருப்பில் இருக்கும் இரண்டு எலிகள் போடும் சண்டை போன்றது. யார் சரி யார் தவறு என்பது இப்பொழுது முக்கியம் அல்ல. உயிர் காத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள், எல்லோரும் நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். நன்மையைச் சொல்லுகின்றேன், உண்மையைச் சொல்லுகின்றேன். இந்திய நாட்டில் இருக்கும் மக்கள் எல்லோரும் கேளுங்கள். கருட புராணத்தில் வியாசன் சொன்ன கிருமி போஜனம் என்னும் நரகம் திறந்து நேரடியாய் இந்தியா மீது இடிபோல் விழுகின்றது. ஆதி கைலாசத்திற்கு ஓடிச் சென்று வருமுன் காத்துக் கொள்வது மட்டுமே ஒரே வழி. கொரோனா பெருந்தொற்று கொள்ளை நோய் கிருமி போஜனம் எனும் நரகத்தை பூமிக்கு கொண்டு வந்து விட்டது. அகோர தாண்டவத்தின் ஆட்டம் யாராலும் அடக்க முடியாத அளவிற்கு ஆரம்பித்து விட்டது. புதிதாய் உருக்கொண்டிருக்கும் இந்த நுண்ணுயிரி மைல்கள் கடந்தும் காற்றினில் உயிரோடு இருந்து மற்ற உயிர்களையும் அழித்து உடல்களை தின்னும் பெரும் வலிவு கொண்ட பேரசுரர்களாய் வலம் வர துவங்கி விடுகின்றது. நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். வருமுன் காத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். அது ஒன்றே வழி. அதற்காகவே ஆதி கைலாசத்தை திறந்து வைத்திருக்கின்றேன். உயிர் காத்துக் கொள்ள வேண்டி விரும்பும் எல்லோரும் ஓடுங்கள் ஆதி கைலாசத்திற்கு. இந்தியாவில்தான் இந்த நரகம் திறந்து உலகெங்கும் பரவப் போகின்றது. கிருமி போஜன நரகம் பூமிக்கு வந்துவிட்டது. மனிதர்கள் செய்த மகா கொடுமைகளினால். அன்னை முன்னின்று என் அடியவரை காப்பேன் சொல்வதை கேட்டு உயிர் காத்துக் கொள்ள விரும்புவோர் வருமுன் காப்பது ஒன்றே வழி என்று தெரிந்து செல்லுங்கள் ஆதி கையிலைக்கு. ஓம் ஓம் ஓம்.
The translation of this revelation on 31st May 2021, Devi revealed that everyone in India, all of you listen. The hell of Krimi Bhojanam. Krimi is the micro insect and Bhojanam is the food. That was mentioned by Vyasa in Garuda Puranam that has opened and is directly falling on India as a thunder, running to Adi Kailasa and protection. From it is the only way. Deadly corona, life-taking disease has brought the hell known as Krimi Bhojanam to earth. The dance of Aghora Thandava, which no one could control, has started. This microorganism that has formed will be alive in air for miles together. Destroying other souls, it will eat bodies. It has started roaming as great demons with tremendous strength. Understand properly. Prevention is the only way. For that, I have opened Adi Kailasa. For those who want to save their lives, all of you run to Adi Kailasa. Only in India, this hell is going to open and is going to spread to the whole world. The Krimi Bhojanam hell has come to the earth because of the suffering done by humans. Mother, I will protect those who are at my feet, those who listen to me and wish to save their lives, learning that prevention is the only way. Go to Adi Kailasa. There are various scriptural references for this Krimi Bhojanam. Krimi Bhojana is one of the 28 hells described in the Hindu scriptures that people are sent to suffer in a pit to be eaten up by the worms. In Garuda Purana, one of the chapter, Cosmogony of Hell and the Nether Regions. In Devi Bhagavata Purana, chapter 21 on the narrative of hells. And in chapter 22 on the narrative of the sins leading to hells. In Shiva Purana, chapter 16, uplift from the hell, which is section 5. And in Skanda Purana, chapter 12, redemption from hells. In chapter 2, the merit of visiting Setu. chapter 30, the glory of Dhanushkoti. In the Brahmanda Purana, chapter 20, the hells in nether regions, and chapter 106, sufferings in hell. In Padma Purana, chapter 48, section on the nether world. So these are the various references on the Krimi Bhojanam. So having said that, now see what the situation across the world on this pandemic race. You can see the statistics across the world due to this pandemic. Total deaths so far is 3 million, and total confirmed cases are close to 140 million. And latest daily figures are 12,744 to, that is 56 days constant trend, and latest daily figures of deaths are 12,744 deaths on a day-to-day basis, and latest daily figures of the cases, confirmed cases, on 837,000. So the current state of the world of more statistics, and up to the last month, these are the cases, and you can see various statistics. So the world's most infectious disease, now airborne. A quiet revolution has permeated global health circles. Authorities have come to accept what many researchers have argued for over a year. The coronavirus can spread through the air. That new acceptance by the World Health Organization and the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention comes with concrete implications. Scientists are calling for ventilation systems to be overhauled, like public water supplies were in the 1800s after fetid pipes were found to harbor cholera. The cleaner indoor air won't just fight the pandemic. It will minimize the risk of catching flu and other respiratory infections that cost the US more than 50 billion a year. Researchers said in a study in the journal Science on Friday, avoiding these germs and their associated sickness and the productivity losses would therefore offset the cost of upgrading ventilation and filtration in buildings. The world's most infected disease, now airborne, and the published by Mint. And he was right. The virus, which is SARS-CoV-2 virus, can travel on very small particles but can build up inside indoors. These particles can affect people who stay more than 6 feet away. And the hedgepatch of mass Americans have adopted may provide some COVID protection, but they do not render an unsafe situation safe. Through scientists have been discussing airborne transmission for months. It was only last week that the WHO, the World Health Organization, and CDE made this official. With the vaccine rollout still in its early days across the world, those officials should follow this belated admission with guidance that unvaccinated people can use to minimize their risk. In a letter, the Hindu explained, the newspaper, airborne transmission of COVID-19 a risk. In a letter, what have scientists told the World Health Organization? How does the disease pass from one person to another? The story so far is on Monday, July 6th, 239 scientists from 37 countries put their signatures on an open letter that said COVID-19 is also transmitted via aerosols. Titled it is time to address airborne transmission of COVID-19. An address to the World Health Organization, they said that there was enough evidence to show that viruses are released during exhalation, talking, and coughing as micro droplets small enough to remain aloft to and pose a risk of exposure at distances beyond 1 to 2 meters from someone who is infected over 3 to 6 feet, recommended for physical distancing between people to avoid transmission. You can see the various statistics starting from Tamil Nadu. The confirmed cases are on a daily basis 10,072 and an active 9,099. Recovered are only 26. And the more statistics you can see in Tamil Nadu, and the Times of India published the statistics on the region, Chennai region, north, south, and zonal wise, the regions, the cases, and you can see the various statistics of daily cases and recoveries, deaths. And in Maharashtra, the cases, confirmed cases are in lakhs, active are also in lakhs, and you can see the various statistics as of today. Current state of statistics in Maharashtra, Mumbai, and case summary in Mumbai, what it was in June 2nd, 3 lakh cases per day to 7 lakh cases, active cases per day. And across the states, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and some of the statistics you can see district-wise cases, Karnataka, Bangalore, the cases, and Maharashtra, Pune, the cases, Maharashtra, Mumbai, the cases, the Tamil Nadu, Chennai, and Maharashtra, Nagpur, and Nasik. You can see the various statistics and the deaths. The home quarantine is not possible in India, a statement made by the Indian government. The home quarantine is the prime reason for large number of deaths in Assam. The Himanta Biswa Sharma said, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma said that the home quarantine is one prime reason for the large number of deaths during the second wave of COVID-19 in Assam. The Assam on Monday witnessed 92 deaths, which were the highest single day deaths in the state. Sharma said that we have seen more death cases are happening from home isolation as several people do not keep oximeters and some do not read the counts in the meter properly. Maharashtra government on Tuesday announced that the decision to stop home quarantine in 18 districts, which show higher COVID positivity rate than the state's average. The state's public health minister Rajesh Tope said that the decision taken to ensure better healthcare facilities to patients in districts which are showing a higher positivity rate. About 41% of the homes have just a single room, which is shared by about 5 persons. About 41% of the households in India have just one room or don't have an exclusive living room, and about 5 people share such accommodations. About 32% of households have 2 rooms, and adding to the O's is the fact that only 47% households have access to the water within the premises and 42% don't have a bathing facility within the premises. So that is the reason why on home quarantine is impossible for the majority of the Indians. The self-isolation for COVID-19 is impossible for 40% of the Indian families. In order to utilize India's healthcare infrastructure optimally to manage the expanding fallout of coronavirus, the central government on 27th April signaled a change in approach from mandating that every person who tests positive for the virus be moved to isolation beds in dedicated hospitals or units. The government allowed home quarantine for those who with mild symptoms. The key additional condition was that their house should allow for self-quarantine. That in India is easier said than done. According to the census 2011, about 42% Indian households were living in houses where an average 3 or more people were sharing a room. In the context of coronavirus, this challenge of physical distancing is greater in rural areas, that is 45% of the households, than in urban areas, 35% of the households. Only one state, Kerala, is looking relatively dignified on this metric. And all districts reporting at least 250 cases have anywhere between 34% to 54% households averaging 3 or more to a room. You can see a picture. A woman weeps after her husband, who is not in the picture, was tested positive for the coronavirus disease and was taken to a quarantine facility during an extended nationwide lockdown to show the spreading of the coronavirus disease at a slum area in Ahmedabad, India, on May 5th, 2020. 2 of the every 5 Indian households live in houses where the average 3 to a room, and the stress of this physical proximity is more in rural areas. Where is the space for home quarantine in cities? In New Delhi, Health Ministry last week said most cases of coronavirus had been asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic and had advised home isolation for such people. It also said that 65% cases across the country were reported from the metros and big cities. However, census data suggests and experts also agree that the following the ministry's guidelines on home quarantine is near impossible, particularly in urban households. The guidelines on home quarantine say the person showing COVID-19 symptoms has to remain isolated in a well-ventilated room, preferably with an attached toilet. If another family member needs to stay in the same room, it is advisable to maintain a distance of at least 1 meter between the two, it stated. When the first world countries closed their borders during a massive global emergency, Kailasa has opened its doors to all without exception. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals that at least 6 months back, I become aware that the multi-layer quarantine is needed to protect people. If you are in India and you want to protect your immediate family or extended family, anyone who will listen to you, get them immediately to our campuses. Our campuses, many are India, Adi Kailasa in Bidadi, Bangalore, Salem Adinam, Tamil Nadu, Tirunamale Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Rajapalam Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Puduvai Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Pattanam Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Srirangapadi Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Sripuram Adinam in Hyderabad, Madurai Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Avattipalam Erode, Tamil Nadu, Husur Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Baroda Adinam in Gujarat. Kailasa rushes to help as India finds itself on the verge of COVID-19 third wave. Multiple free COVID care centers opened across India. Various social services offered during the pandemic in Nithyananda ashrams across India. The spiritual services offered during the pandemic in Nithyananda ashrams across India. The cosmic revelations on the global pandemic. The free social services offered during the pandemic in Nithyananda ashrams across India, which includes medical care, which consists of allopathy, Ayurvedic, and Siddha medicine, and a free the fire safety equipment maintenance, infrastructure to accommodate thousands, the accommodation for multi-layered quarantine, emergency ambulances, ICU on wheels, personal protective medical equipment, and groceries collected for Annadan and organic farming. Join now in one of the COVID care protection centers. Register now through the link below, https://kailasa.org/Kailasa care. Now let us see some of the glimpses from Kailasa's the Department of Health on COVID protection for Adi Kailasa Sarvajna Peetham. Immunity boosters and COVID care. The supplements procurement on allopathic immune boosters are zinconia, vitamin D, and vitamin C. And the immunity boosters and COVID care through Ayurvedic medicine. The immunity boosters are being provided to protect all the residents of Adi Kailasa Sarvajna Peetham. The immunity boosters and COVID care streaming once a day with tulsi, eucalyptus, nochi, and turmeric leaves. All these herbal leaves are taken from the healing trees here in Adi Kailasa. Twice a week, consumption of Kabasura Kundinir, a mixture of pepper, ginger, and clove, and other ingredients extensively aimed for boosting the lungs, improving the respiratory system, and treating infections conditions such as cough, cold, and fever. The Neelavembu Kundinir to be taken once a week, the Agastya Leham 5 days, and Talisadi Vatakam 3 to 4 tablets per day for 5 days, and Indu Gunta Kashayam, Amrutottara, the Kashayam, both for 5 days, 1 teaspoon with 50 ml warm water, and Sudarshana Gulika once every 5 days, and gargling with salt and turmeric twice a day, and spiritual routine Panchakriya, Haritaki, castor oil, neem juice, Prathama Vinyasa Krama, the yoga, and Trinetra Kumbhaka and Puja. The basic sanitization and safety practices include disposal of soil pads and infected material and non-biodegradables done through incineration. The RO water systems for drinking water, the cleansing and sanitization of overhead tanks, regular deweeding, maintenance and repair of electrical circuits, and communication facilities for safety of the residents, and compost pit falling with biodegradables. The diagnosis COVID care quarantine methodology includes immediately upon arrival to the campus, occupants will be quarantined for 15 days. The swab test, the RT-PCR test to be done on day 5 of quarantine. All food handlers to be wearing masks and gloves and keeping distance. Disposal of waste food to be done with gloves and masks. Disposal of gloves and masks by the incineration, and in case of emergency, protective kits ready at hand to take a COVID positive potential to hospital. The hand washing and infection control, washing hands as often as possible, thoroughly with the soap and water or with alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid sharing any items, that is example, dishes, drinking glasses, cups, eating utensils, towels, bedding, or other items with other residents in the Adhinam. The mask protection. Wear a mask at all times when and if exposed to vendors or outside people. Double layer cotton masks should be changed every day up to 24 hours and can be reused after washing with detergent and sun dried. If it gets wet by saliva, secretions, or sweat, change it or wear a dry mask. The wet mask can be stored in a sealed plastic cover and washed with a detergent and reused later. You can see the picture here. And the face shield. A face shield will be provided as an extra protective wear for people at the gate, interacting with the vendors, outsiders. Use of hand sanitizer, hand washing, regular steaming, taking of preventive kashayams, turmeric salt water gargling, and bathing with washing of clothes with history of any exposure. If symptoms appear, the cough, fever, difficulty in breathing, he or she should immediately inform the medical person in charge immediately. The standard operating procedures include quarantine rules. First line of quarantine, the people in the first circle who are in contact with the vendors. Area of stay conform to the outermost area where the communication with the outside is happening with the vendors, etc. Stay in a well ventilated single room, preferably with an attached separate toilet. Person should not come into contact with inmates of Adhinam, especially elderly people, the pregnant woman, children, and persons with comorbidities, that is hypertension, diabetics, heart problems, asthma, etc. Restrict his or her movement within the area or room, first line of quarantine. The standard operating procedures are delivery of packages. All parcels received at the gate should be sanitized, spraying with disinfectant. All deliveries will be contactless delivery. Wearing of face coverings and hand gloves are mandatory if contactless delivery is not an option, or request the delivery to be left in a protected and isolated place. The outer packaging of the item or product will be disposed before it enters the Adhinam. Packages will be quarantined before being delivered. All the delivery bags, boxes, containers will be thrown away after transferring the items to their respective places. All surfaces of the package will be cleaned with a simple disinfectant and left to dry. All hands which are handling the packaging will be thoroughly washed with soap and water or antibacterial solution frequently. All mail and packaged products which are non-perishable will be left outside for 24 hours before using them. Disinfection, that sodium hypochlorite, the bleach or chloride, will be used 1 teaspoon of bleaching powder in 3 cups. Alcohol at 70 to 90% will also be used for surface disinfection. Clothes to be washed separately with detergent and dried. Sharing of items is strictly prohibited. This prevents the spread of the virus. The warning signs: if the fever continues for more than 5 days, fever returns to the second week after having been there for a day or two, fever more than 101 Fahrenheit after day 4, and resting heart rate over 110 when there is no activity happening, breathlessness, tightness in the chest. Oxygen saturation less than 94% on pulse oximeter. Our 6-minute walk test record the saturation rate before and after walking briskly for 6 minutes. If the saturation falls by more than 3%, it is not favorable, and less than 94% is not good too. Relentless cough, continuous coughing. You can see the pictures of in-campus ambulances. The ambulances pictures you can see. The second line, quarantine. The prevention is the best medicine. Prevention is the best medicine. In the second line quarantine, people who come in as newly will be given a separate room with toilet facility. Under no circumstances will they exit the room. Their designated quarantine person picks up the food after the person who serves the food is at safe distance of 6 feet. The food will be placed outside the door. The monitoring the quarantine, monitor the temperature, pulse rate and oxygen saturation levels once a day or more often if the person is symptomatic. Please speak with the medical team. Take paracetamol if temperature is more than 99 Fahrenheit. Ensure good hydration. Have a nutritious diet and steam inhalation twice daily, and salt and turmeric hot water gargling twice daily. Ayurvedic and Siddha medication will be given as per the instructions. Doctor will be contacted if there is worsening of symptoms for specific management, which could be further consultation, investigations, and treatment. Residents will be asked to continue taking medications if they are on a blood pressure, sugar, heart elements, etc. Doctors will be consulted if comorbid conditions pose a higher risk. Residents on medication will be asked to bring 2 months of supply till the Adhinam is able to organize the medications for them. Residents will be asked to take a long deep breaths, pranayama, lie in prone position on the tummy as much as possible so that the lungs expand well. If there are no symptoms, the person will come out of quarantine after a total of 15 days. The test will not be repeated if clinically well. If there are symptoms, the person will need to be retested and need medical opinion and necessary investigations and treatment. The common symptoms which will looked out for: fever, sore throat, fatigue, excess tiredness, cough, mostly dry and wet cough in some, and body aches, headaches, loose stools, vomiting, loss of sense of smell, loss of sense of taste, exhaustion, giddiness, and fainting. Previous mentioned symptoms will be provided with immediate evaluation and hospital care. Early detection of these warning signs and identifying the timeline is very crucial for better outcome. These will be monitored very closely and is the most important thing that needs to be done. Identifying day one of symptoms is a very crucial in the management with respect to monitoring and treatment protocols. Day one would be when the very first symptom started. Investigate for the possible source of contact. All the people who have come in close contact 3 to 6 feet range with the primary case in the last 3 days need to be isolated separately and monitored for the symptoms as well. Infectivity starts 0 to 3 days before the onset of the symptoms, and the infected person sheds the virus till 9 days. Any of the above symptoms in various combinations signals the possibility of COVID, even though the same symptoms can happen with any viral infection in a pandemic, and it is to be considered as the possible diagnosis until proven otherwise. The rare presentations are known: rust, rash on a body, bluish discoloration of the fingers and toes, sudden onset of breathlessness, heart attack, strokes, paralysis of the limbs. Any suspect case should be immediately isolated. Now, the second line of quarantine includes no visitors to be allowed in the vicinity of the quarantined person. In case the person being quarantined becomes symptomatic, all the close contacts taking care will be quarantined for 15 days and followed up for an additional 15 days or till the report of such a case turns out negative on lab testing. The environmental sanitization includes clean and disinfectant frequently touched surfaces in the quarantine person's room, that is bed frames, tables, etc. Daily with the bleach solution. Clean and disinfectant toilet surfaces daily with regular household bleach solution, um, and with the disinfectants, and clean the clothes and other linen used by the person separately using common household detergent and dry. The Adhinavasis coming into the Adhinam. These are the mandatory requirements. The Adhinavasis coming into the Adhinam must make the following medical tests. Results to be sent to the doctors here, Dr. Ma Santan Lakshmi, Dr. Ma Atmaninjanamma, and RN Ma Chandravidya. And the email ID is the ma.santanlakshmi at nithyanandauniversity.org. The medical tests, mandatory requirements which are to be done before coming are complete blood count with peripheral smear, blood group type, fasting and post prandial blood sugar, renal function test, blood urea and serum creatinine, and VDRL test and HBsAg test, HIV test, thyroid function test, serum T3 and T4 TSH test, ECG test, liver function test, lipid profile test, medical test. Please get your RT-PCR test for COVID-19 taken 2 days before coming into the Adhinam and send it to the previous mentioned email address to get clearance. The medical team will communicate to the admin of the respective Adhinam with regards to the medical status and approval status. Once communicated, the person should come into the Adhinam within 24 to 48 hours of the test. If there are any pre-existing medical issues like hypertension, diabetics, or any other chronic diseases and comorbid situation, please bring in the recent reports and the prescription from the attending doctor. A medical form will be need to be filled in by all the new occupants. A legal disclaimer will also be required to be signed. The quarantine rules includes all the people in quarantine will be monitored for temperature rise, oxygen status, and other symptoms during the period of quarantine. Anyone with symptoms should be reported immediately. The designated quarantine person will be responsible to monitor the pulse oximeter and temperature daily. The equipment should be sanitized after every use, and knowledge for the same will be given by the medical team. The report of these recordings will be reviewed by the medical team daily. During the quarantine period, certain Ayurvedic and Siddha preparations, steaming, saline, and turmeric water gargle and other immune boosters will be given by the caregivers, which has to be followed strictly. After 15 days, they can be out of quarantine. Please follow the basic guidelines of living in the Adhinam, some of which are listed below. Smoking, drinking, drugs, substance abuse is strictly prohibited. Consumption of non-vegetarian food is strictly prohibited. Illicit sex is strictly prohibited. Please follow the basic etiquette like traditional Indian clothing, personal and environmental cleanliness, and hygiene. The following measures below will help prevent in the spread of the infections in the Adhinam, such as cold, flu, and stomach bug, and protect the Adhinavasis. Make sure the workplaces are clean and hygiene. Hygienic surfaces such as desks and tables and objects that are telephones, keyboards need to be wiped with disinfectant regularly to prevent. Promote regular, thorough hand washing by Adinavasis. Please keep sanitizing hand rub dispensers in prominent places around the workplace. Make sure these dispensers are regularly refilled. Daily posters promoting the hand washing. Display the posters promoting the hand washing skill. The virus washing kills the virus on your hands and prevents the spread of infection. Promote good respiratory hygiene in the workplace. Display posters promoting the respiratory hygiene. Good respiratory hygiene prevents the spread of infection. Anyone with even a mild cough or low grade fever, that is 37.3 Celsius or more, needs to be monitored by health personnel with isolation even if symptoms are mild. They should wear ordinary surgical face masks rather than N95 face masks in their quarantine room. Medications such as paracetamol and ibuprofen or aspirin may mask symptoms of infection. Ensure the pre-order sufficient supplies and materials, including masks, tissues, and hand sanitizers for all the people. The travel in case of emergency, the travel precautions, travel outside the Adhinam must be discussed with the medical department. No one is leave the premises without approval. Plan of action. When someone is infected with COVID-19, the plan should cover putting the ill person in an area where they are isolated from others. Local health authorities will be notified. The medical team have a working relationship with a good hospital for any medical emergency. Please note down emergency contact numbers of the hospitals where you may have to shift people to. All the medical team members and the admins will have it with them for immediate reference. You can see the pictures of oxygen concentrator in case of emergencies. Join now in these COVID care centers, protection centers. Register now through the link below, https https://kailasa.org/kailasa care. The spelling I'll read out, https://kailasa.org, kailasa.org/kailasa care, KAILASAKE, Kailasa care. So now we will move on to the next segment after a short break. Now, welcome back. The Kailasa Department of Enlightened Civilization presents, with the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivan's blessings, multi-layer quarantine COVID care protection centers at the de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa, how they are functioning, and we'll learn more details. Before that, again, we'll see one more round of the world. In this segment, you see that the need of the Annadan that Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism doing while continuously is upbringing itself was like that, and continuously he's promoting across the Kailasa's embassies. What is the need for the Annadan? If you see the world today, COVID-19 is creating a hunger catastrophe in India. The pandemic has led to increase in the global food insecurity, affecting vulnerable households in almost every country. It has exacerbated the existing inequalities, pushing millions of people into the vicious cycles of economic stagnation, loss of livelihood, and worsening of food insecurity. The World Bank estimates that 71 million people will be pushed into extreme poverty across the globe as a result of the pandemic. The World Food Programme estimates that an additional 130 million people could fall into the category of food insecure over and above the 820 million who were classified as such by the 2019 State of Food Insecurity in the World report. Hunger in plain sight. COVID-19 worsens the plight of food insecurity. More than 50 million people have experienced the food insecurity during the pandemic, up to 35 million in 2019, according to the Feeding America nonprofit, the nation's largest domestic hunger relief organization. The child malnutrition and the hunger skyrocket in Haiti as COVID-19 infection spike. At least 86,000 children are at risk of developing the severe to acute child malnutrition this year in Haiti. According to sources connected to the United Nations Children's Fund, the number of children projected to suffer from starvation this year has doubled as the impoverished nation continues to grapple with extraordinary political and social crisis exacerbated by the pandemic. Refugees are paying the highest price in the COVID-19 pandemic. Vulnerable groups such as refugees are paying the highest price in the COVID-19 pandemic. We are seeing alarming trends that show many refugees around the world are unable to pay for food or rent and are struggling to access healthcare and education. The price hikes in local markets and further displacement caused by the campfires have pushed many families further into food insecurity. During April and May, around 30,000 refugees in the Cox's Bazar camps raised questions and concerns, with 63% seeking services, including urgent food relief, shelter. Just one third, that is 37%, requested health and medical care. The famine risk spikes amid conflict, COVID-19, and funding gaps. The number of people on the brink of famine has risen from 34 million projected at the beginning of the year to 41 million projected as of June. He said, without immediate emergency food assistance, they too will face the starvation, as the slightest shock will push them over the cliff into famine conditions. The World Bank releases a report on growing food insecurity that the World Bank released an analysis of the rising food insecurity rates in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The report released on Monday, 20th, 2021, on May 20th, 2021, stated that COVID-19 impacts have led to severe and widespread increase in global food insecurity, affecting vulnerable households in almost every country, with impact expected to continue through 2021 and into 2022. It also states that the global food prices increased significantly by 38% since January 2020. World Economic Forum released that 155 million people are caught up in food crisis of varying severity. 133,000 people in Burkina Faso, South Sudan, and Yemen are most at risk. 10 countries account for the two-thirds of these facing acute hunger. The resilience of anti-food systems The resilience of anti-food systems is being eroded by conflict, insecurity, and environmental trends. Join now in these COVID care protection centers. Register now through the link below, https://kailasa.org/kailasa care. Now let us understand the revelations from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that you eat, you become what you eat. What you eat contributes to what you think. What you think contributes to what you cognize. And what you cognize contributes to who you are. So what you eat directly affects to who you are. And that is why I am making the statement, you become what you eat. What is in your plate matters, because that is going to become you. Violence-based food derived from killing animals and life-negative, chemical-based toxic food both harm the system equally. Organic vegetarian food is not just for health. It gives you an inner space, physical system, physiological flow to develop the highest psychology. To develop highest psychology, not only your physical system, even your psychological flow needs to cooperate. You become what you eat. Your brain is constructed for all these higher things. When you don't explore the higher things, you are bound to feed the lower things and keep your brain engaged for survival. If you don't explore the higher dimensions of consciousness, you will force yourself into the drugs and try to explore the hallucination, imaginary, illusory dimensions of the universe. Vegetarianism as a lifestyle. The human body is naturally designed for vegetarian food. The inner mechanisms like feeling, thinking, words, and everything is designed to function with the vegetarian food. It is like having a generator which can handle only 220 volt current, or a UPS which can handle only 220 volt current. But it is given 20,000 volt current, what will happen? It will get fused. The food without anxiety, the food without fear, the food without depression and by memories, if they are consumed by a person, the energy with which they think, the energy with which they utter the words, the energy with which they act, the energy with which they feel, everything will be aligned to the natural source of energy. It will be aligned to nature, which is the inner potential energy. The Kailasas Annalayas serve continuously the free organic vegetarian sattvic meal for one and all, eliminating the hunger. The developmental, economic, social, and medical impacts of malnutrition and famine have a critical impact on the individual, familial, community, national, ultimately on the global level. With the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic triggering an alarming spike in food insecurity, and the United Nations have given warnings of famines of biblical proportions. In 2020 alone, 690 million people were estimated to be pushed into food insecurity. The access and availability to organic food has become of utmost importance. Through the Kailasa Department of Agriculture, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has committed to distribute the free organic food to everyone, not just since the beginning of his public life, but from his very upbringing itself. Kailasas Annalayas, the food bank established all across the globe, distributes and serves free vegetarian organic food for people of all caste, creed, religion, race, gender, and social standing. Under the symbol Red Om, providing relief work for natural and man-made calamities, working to eliminate the world hunger. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism said on 17 June 2019, he reveals that we will revive the food supply system of Kailasa. Before you get hungry, food will be ready. Continuous Annadanam. I am not giving any fantasy. It is already become a reality. You can see the pictures way back in 2002. This picture is taken on 22 November 2002. The pictures show the early days of Kailasa spiritual mission, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is offering Annadan, providing a free organic vegetarian meal on Kartikeya Deepam in Tirunamallai. This picture is taken at Tirunamallai, India. And on 2013, you see these pictures where you find the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism on his right hand side with a bandage, even with a fractured hand. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, engaged in selfless work day and night, inspiring the peacekeepers of Sovereign Order of Kailasa to engage in selfless service, leading the nation of Kailasa by example. In 2011, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had a multiple compound fracture with the bone protruding out of the skin. In 2013, 2 steel implants that were fastened in 2011 were removed as the bones had healed completely, and this picture is taken soon after the surgery, and he was ready to serve the everyone, serving the Annadan. And you can see this picture taken on 3rd January 2012 at Pondicherry, Thane flood relief. And this picture on 3rd January 2012, again, some more pictures from the Thane flood relief. And this picture, you see, again, the Thane flood relief serving the thousands of victims, the Annadanam happening. Nithyananda Annalaya inauguration at Tirunamallai, India on 9th September 2011, where you find in this picture the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism serving the Annadan to one and all. This picture that you see on 25th November 2005, Arogya Yoga Health Workshop in Tamil Nadu, where you see the thousands of devotees and you find the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself serving the meals. And you see this picture on 12th December 2007, Nithyananda Purana Meditation Workshop and Salem, India, where you find the thousands of devotees are taking part the Annadanam. You find this picture on 20th September 2012, Nithyananda Purana Meditation Workshop in Tirunamallai, India. And this picture is from Kartikeya Deepam celebrations, where you find the thousands of devotees are served food. And this picture is taken on 27th November 2012. And this picture you see are taken during the part of the Inner Awakening Meditation Workshop in Tirunamallai, India, where this picture is taken on 10th May 2017. On 10th April 2017, Kalpataru Meditation Workshop in Tirunamallai. Now, we see these pictures as part of the Kumbh Mela, which happened on 2016. Pictures are taken on 5th May 2016. Bandara feast served for respected spiritual leaders and the Hindu monks, where you will find lakhs and lakhs of monks and devotees are fed the free sattvic organic vegetarian meals every single day. The pictures on Kalpataru Meditation Workshop on 28th April 2016 during the part of the Ujjain Kumbh Mela. And 11th March 2017, Arunachala Sarvajna Peetam, Tirunamallai, India, the Annadanam service. And this picture you see from Tiruchengodu Sarvajna Peetam, India on 18th August 2019, where the Annadanam is happening. On 6th July 2019, Annadan distributed during the Guru Purnima, the traditional celebration of Guru, the Kailasa in Houston. And on the 8th December 2016, the Sadashivoham meditation workshop in Adi Kailasa, where you find the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism serving the meals. Annadan service continues in the midst of COVID-19 crisis, Madurai, India, 30th May 2020. Now let's listen the proof of necessity for Annadan, the Bengal famine of 1943.
What I found in researching the Bengal famine was that Churchill did several things that greatly aggravated the death toll. India was being used extensively for the war effort. Indian resources, Indian soldiers, and Churchill repeatedly refused to acknowledge the fact that the extent to which India was used could lead to famine.
Viceroy to India, Archibald Wavell, called the Bengal famine one of the greatest disasters to have befallen people under British rule, and said the reputational damage was incalculable. During one government discussion about famine relief, Secretary of State for India Leopold Amery recorded Mr. Churchill saying that any aid sent would be insufficient because Indians bred like rabbits.
Now you see, in 1943-1944, from the video, we learned that in the man-made famine of Bengal, as per the existing records of 3+ million were murdered. The Prime Minister of the world's biggest empire, controlling the 1/3 of mankind, claimed that they could not do anything about the people dying of hunger because Hindus bred like rabbits and the famine was their fault. In 2016 Ujjain Kumbh Mela, the peacekeepers of Kailasa served organic food to over 3 million people. Peacekeepers of Kailasa, under the leadership of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, served the more than 1 billion free meals in that Ujjain Kumbh Mela in past 26 years, and are determined to end the hunger and poverty in all its form. Kailasa, with 200 peacekeepers at any given time, can deliver what even one of the biggest countries could not do. Kailasa is not driven by war or fear or greed. It is an enlightenment-based nation driven by selfless service. The Vedagamas, the source of Hindu scriptures, declares that Annam Bahukurvita. The scriptural reference is from Taittiriya Upanishad, Bhrigu Valli, which means that let us produce food in excuse me, let us produce food in large quantities. Through the widespread distribution and promotion of free, healthy, organic food, Kailasa's global peacekeepers, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, serve such that we may achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture globally. Annadan is a vision to end poverty and hunger in all its forms. Join now in Kailasa's COVID care production centers. Register now through the link below, https://kailasa, https://kailasa.org/Kailasa care. Revelation to the world by Devi Parashakti. On 12th May 2021, Devi Parashakti revealed through the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that I came as Nija Avatar. I am blessing you. Listen, people, listen. To do good to all of you, I have taken the form of Nithyananda and came down as Nija Avatar. People of India, listen carefully, listen. Time after time, Bharatam is Jnana Bhumi, where enlightened beings come, and we cannot make Jnana Bhumi as infantile. Enlightened beings have to come. They have to live and it has to flower. Few hypocrites, because they are stuck in delusion, we cannot sacrifice the world. Cosmos cannot be destroyed. The ship I did to save the cosmos from being destroyed, that is called Adi Kailasa. The ship I did to protect beings from Pralaya is Adi Kailasa. Because of conspiracy of Drohis and enemies rule, the captain has to leave the ship. Before 12 years, knowing the great deluge that is going to happen, all Aushadas by this Guru Purnima, that Jnana Rasavadam, before 12 years, knowing the great deluge that is going to happen, all Aushadas by this Guru Purnima, that Jnana Rasavadam, Navapashana is going to flower, allow people to come and take dip in Navapashana flower. People, whoever comes and dip in Vaidasarovar, they will not have death, they will not have corona. Crores and crores of people will come in line every day and they will come and dip in the Ananda Lingam. Listen well to my words. For India, I made ship as protection. The Nithyananda Navapashana Lingam in Vaidyasarovar. Go to Adi Kailasa, O Indian, listen. All those regretting losing Nithyananda Navapashana without confusion and without talking just as lip service, go to Adi Kailasa. Continue the next segment after a short break.
What I mean by the word Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa.
I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model community. Kailasa, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Pitas all over the world.
All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth.
Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem.
Sorry for the technical glitch. Okay. So on 12th May 2021, Devi continued to say that before 12 years, knowing the great deluge that is going to happen, all Aushadas by this Guru Purnima, that Jnana Rasavadam, Navapashana is going to flower. Allow people to come and take dip in Navapashana flower. People, whoever comes and dip in Vaidya they will not have death. They will not have corona. Crores and crores of people will come in time. Every day, they will come and dip in the Ananda Lingam. On 13th May 2021, Devi continued to reveal that, listen well to my words. For India, I made ship as protection. The Nithyananda Navapashana Lingam in Vaidya Sarovar. Go to Adi Kailasa, O Indians, listen. All those regretting losing Nithyananda Nija Avatara, without confusion and without talking, just as a lip service, go to Adi Kailasa. Scores of people will come there looking for health, Navapashana water feast and medicine, to get health and protection and enlightenment. To protect India from the great destruction, I, Parashakti, made this huge ship. Even if the captain is not there, ship is there. When the first world countries closed their borders during a massive global emergency, Kailasa has opened its doors to all without exception. Join now in one of the COVID care centers. Kailasa rushes to aid India as India finds itself on the verge of COVID-19 third wave. Multiple free COVID care centers opened across India. Various social services offered during the pandemic in the Kailasa de facto spiritual embassies across India. Spiritual services offered during the pandemic in Kailasa's de facto spiritual embassies across India, and cosmic revelations on global pandemic. The free social services